time to us.
Thanks for having me, really.
Um, it's really it's nothing for us because we have been absolutely obsessed with your game since it came out. Congratulations on having what it has to be one of, if not the top-selling game in the world right now. Streets of Rage 4 art director. How do you say your name, Ben?
Ben Fiquet.
Ben Fiquet?
Fiquet.
Yeah, usually American people say Fiquet, which is quite funny, but no, this is Fiquet, like, yeah, Fiquet.
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 Yeah. Um,
So yeah, the game is selling well. Yeah. I've been told like today we are first on Nintendo Switch in the US,
mhm.
Oh, nice.
which is quite a feat really, because the US is a big market, and to be on top is for download only, because Animal Crossing is still keeping the top position for game you can buy at retail.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've already
Animal
bought
Crossing
it
is
on
a big beast
multiple.
to try to beat.
Yeah. I don't think that's possible really, because a lot of people I think bought Animal Crossing, but that's nice at least to be second.
Yeah, I've already bought it on multiple platforms, and pretty much
Thanks.
you can
So
look at the
that's
stream and
because
just
of you, then.
what's that?
That's because of you that we are on top.
No, haven't bought it on the Switch
Thanks,
yet.
Chris.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm going for the other platforms. We can get a clean sweep for you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm actually a little sleepy because I tried to beat the game last night. I ended up beating it finally last night, but it took a while. I had to
Yeah.
get through it all.
Well, which difficulty?
Unfortunately, normal.
Yeah.
I'll get there. Yeah, it
Okay,
was
okay,
Floyd.
okay.
Yeah.
No, but
Floyd is.
I understand, because I suck at this game. I see a lot
It's your own game.
yeah. It's very difficult. I'm not like a gamer per se, but it's very difficult for me. I usually play normal. I can beat the game in normal, but usually the hardest difficulty I'm stuck. I can't.
Yeah, I beat normal a couple times with my friends, but I've been streaming it, so we've moved on to hard, and we're still getting thumped by hard. So, but you're part of the. How did you get into art on a video game project?
What do you mean? How did I start?
What's your
video games?
background in art? I'm guessing before video games.
Well, I've been trained in fine arts in France. I did also an animation school called Gobelin, which is a very quite famous animation school, but mostly focused on like feature films or TV series. And actually, after that, I started in video games in a company called Make and Sleep, which is where I met Omar, my associate at Laser Cube, and we made together a game called Salt Bubbles, which was a Nintendo DS game where you blow a bubble, and everything is physics based, like Loco Roco at the time. It was quite a challenge, because the Nintendo DS was very limited hardware.
Mhm.
And after that, I went to London to work in animation. I did a lot of freelance for about 2 years there,
Mhm.
and I came back to Paris, and I did several comic books, because French comic book market is something that you can get into quickly.
I had no idea.
Yeah, the French comics is quite big. It used to be quite big. It's slowly going down the gutter, but the French comic book market is the third one, I think, in the world. And
Oh
this
wow.
is not very well known outside of France because this is very peculiar. Maybe you heard of Tintin, Asterix, maybe.
Yeah, I've
Oh
heard of
yeah.
Tintin, yes.
Yeah, this is like the biggest names that came from French comics, but there is a lot.
I literally have a Tintin poster right next to me.
Yeah. That's
I'm,
it's
I'm
actually
taking a
Belgian,
picture right now.
Actually, we still have your
but
screen on if you want to show it.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna take
Yeah.
a picture and then post it on there.
But I've been rude. We are Free Play Arcade. We're a chain of arcades in the Dallas, Texas area. Richardson,
okay.
Arlington, Fort Worth, and Denton to be specific. We've gotten shut down because of COVID-19, so that forced us
Yeah,
online.
yeah,
And we had a very have a very strong community.
yeah.
So it's just sort of pushed over into this forum. We've been playing arcade games and stuff
So
online
do you
as we can.
do you have like arcades full of old games, or this
Yes,
is
all
like
retro arcades. Yeah, and the way it would work is so you pay a flat fee to come in. There's a bar in an arcade, but they, unlike most that you may have encountered like this, it was an emphasis on the arcade part. So,
yeah,
bar and arcade, you pay a flat fee, and you can come and play all the games. And it's introduced a ton of extra people to classic arcade games.
yeah, that's nice.
Yes.
Because arcade used to be the place to have the best game
Mhm.
around.
Yes.
I loved it when I was a kid. I usually skipped music lessons to go to the arcade, playing King of Fighter 94 and Samurai Showdown 2, I think. And this is about the time when like Tekken arrived on the market,
Mhm.
and I was not interested in the 3D games at all.
Right.
I was definitely a pixel lover somehow.
Yeah, no, I mean it shows in obviously in Streets of Rage 4. Like it's a massive throwback, and I feel like
Yeah,
it has an arcade feel. Like Animal Crossing has come out, and what's the other big game? There's another big game that came out that took everybody by storm during this
yeah,
time. But for me, I didn't bite it all, and then Streets of Rage 4 came out, and holy cow, it's one of the most arcade true games I've seen in a long time, even though it is not technically an arcade game.
yeah. Thanks. So you have to thank the game designer Jordi and Guard Crush Game for their expertise in beat 'em up, because they've been like playing and making beat 'em up since a very long time. So all the arcade feel you can have in Street of Rage 4 is majorly thanks to them.
Yeah, I think there's definitely enough praise to go around. I can't think of an element of this game that is not just fantastic, art
Oh yeah.
included.
Thanks so much. That's
Uh,
very,
Yeah, it's this
You
this
can
this.
tell you're like a.
Go ahead.
You can tell like you're like an actual big arcade fan because like the last one of your last blog posts had the 6 characters to make fan art of,
yeah.
and they're all pretty much like Golden
Yeah.
Axe,
Yeah.
Darkstalkers,
Yeah.
the old school D&D from Capcom.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you drew Akira from Rival Schools because she was the best girl, for sure.
I'm not very familiar with Rival School. I love the art that I've seen of the game, but
Oh, yeah.
I didn't own PlayStation or Dreamcast. The second one was on Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. There is an appeal to these characters. It's just they look cool, really.
Yeah. Art design. That's kind of one of the things that got me in to pick up Streets of Rage. Like, I didn't have a Genesis. I was a Super Nintendo kid when I was growing up.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. we can live that 2 console life. But
Yeah.
the art style for this definitely was something that made me want to pick it up for sure. So
And for me, I was a Sega Genesis kid. In fact, I loved Streets of Rage. Absolutely adored it. The second one in particular, I remember driving across the continent here, listening to the Streets of Rage 2 soundtrack in my car over and over and over again during the 2000s, traveling to different fighting game tournaments.
Oh my.
Yeah, massive fan, and I can tell you that like when the first trailer hit for Streets of Rage 4, I
You
was
were not convinced. You
I,
were definitely not convinced.
correct. Yeah. Well, I was not convinced, but like it wasn't on the art. It was like you get this sometimes, and it's like you see an amazing art, and then you get disappointed by the gameplay. And I know the gameplay was so magical for Streets of Rage 2 that like, and honestly, the quality of the art, and we can see it on our screen now, is so
Yeah, but
good.
thanks. I think a lot of people realized the quality of the art or the gameplay during the 1.5 year period of marketing,
Hmm.
because I think the announcement was such a big hit in the face of every fan on the planet that you can't you can't jump right into it at the beginning of the announcement. So I think we had some time to convince people about time,
Yeah.
and see what at the end people actually the game looks better when you play it than when you just watch some cut out video of gameplay.
Well, I think it's for me the promise of your art here, because it's fantastic. Hand drawn, is that right?
Yeah, everything's random.
It's unbelievable. It looks so good and so true to the feel that like it's promising a lot. And so that was my skepticism initially, was just like, this art looks too good. I'm gonna be disappointed when I play the game, and then not at all.
Yeah, because usually when you have like a game from an animator, sometimes there is too much emphasis on like the jump, for example, takes too long to initiate, and you are kind of disappointed in the gameplay because there is too much focus on the animation. But it was like a partnership with God Crush, like I said, and so we refined the gameplay to be complementary of the animation. So it's not like you're disappointed by the gameplay because there's too much focus.
No, not at
I
all.
hope so.
Yeah, and as like a super fan who's listening to the soundtrack over and over across the country for a decade, the greatest compliment I could give the entire collaboration and the team is that like you did reverence to the old games. The old characters are in there. The old art style is in there. Everything is there in an old way, and yet I've been playing through and I have not switched to the old characters. I've been enjoying the new game as it is presented, which is
Thanks.
an impossible task. I don't know how you pull it off. Congratulations.
Thanks very much. Yeah, this is a dream come true. I've been when I was a kid, I was a massive fan of Streets of Rage 2, and we played a lot with my brother. And now, the massive task that was ahead of us, we managed to make it possible and to have people really enjoy it. So it's really a dream come true.
Were you a fan of the original series? Did you play it?
Yeah, of course. I was a Mega Drive hardcore gamer. Mega Drive, so Genesis for
Yeah.
US gamers.
Was it Bare Knuckle for you or Streets of Rage?
Streets of Rage.
Gotcha.
Bare Knuckle is only for Japan and Korea, I think, and Southeast Asia. I'm not sure, but no, this is mainly known as Streets of Rage on Mega Drive for the world.
Oh,
Yeah, go please.
I was gonna ask. Yeah, I was gonna say, did you ever play Comic Zone? Because
No, I never did actually. Even in emulation, a lot of people, and I knew about the game because I've seen the gameplay and I've seen the screenshots, but I never played the game. And people are actually right, because this is something that is right in the same kind of style of Streets of Rage 4.
yeah, it's like you guys should do if there's a Comic Zone thing. It feels like you guys should totally
Well,
be in on that.
yeah, the thing is, I never played the game, I don't have any appeal for it. Like,
Yeah.
uh, I like I like to focus on games that are important to me. So
Yeah.
if I was to do Comic Zone, it would be just only because fans will be asking about it, and even then, I think this is not very well known outside of hardcore Genesis fans around.
Yeah. It's definitely very, very 90s looking. But that was
Yeah.
like the first thing that I had in my head after playing the game. It's like, oh man, this seems like something that would work well in this kind of art style.
Yeah, this is funny
Um,
because the character is quite odd. You know, this is like a blonde guy with a ponytail
yes.
and glasses. I think this is kind of a nerd fantasy.
Yeah.
Uh, it does look like that. I don't know, but it does look like that.
It screams 90s
Yeah.
kind of grunge. The guy
Yeah.
who would go to a comic book shop and yeah. So going back to your stuff for Streets of Rage 4, we had some questions actually. I wanted to ask. I remember one of our regulars, Cloud, was asking about how you came up with the character for Cherry Hunter.
The cherry was so. First thing is, do we want to have Skate back since the story was set?
Yes.
Since the story was set 10 years from the Switch of Rage 3, couldn't picture Skate coming back as a grown-up with still his
Skates.
skates on his feet. That would have been very cringy. So so I thought it. So we needed a fast character, like a small and fast character, and we wanted to have a character aerial, something that go into the air, and so basically I tried to connect it to the Ancient family because this is quite a very important family for the franchise, and I came up with a daughter of Adam, and I try to have her very cool looking, and I love when characters that I fight are fighting with guitars. So it was kind of a rough process, but I ended up with her, and I really liked her. But there was some pushback about the guitar in the team because some developer didn't find it cool, and I was pretty adamant I wanted the guitar to stay.
I, man, that seems. Well, the proof is in the pudding whenever you play it. Of course, it always is going to be. I don't know, on a design level, like you're the artist. I always want to let the artist run with it and see what it's going to actually turn out like in the end. Did you man?
That makes just you, Chris, because it's usually the other way around.
Well,
People telling the artist what to do and
I believe
how
you.
to make
Ian is a
something.
working artist, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
I'm a super
graphic
fan.
designer.
Graphic design.
Yeah, graphic designer.
Yeah, he's downplaying himself. It's cool. But like the. Have you seen Streets of Fire?
Streets of Fire.
Yes.
It's the game.
It is a movie, Streets of Fire. I would say.
Does,
Doesn't ring a bell?
does, it does. No, it doesn't.
Okay, it's interesting because so Streets of Fire, it's a movie from the 80s. Clearly, Streets of Rage is very directly inspired by it. Like I would say very directly. So and also Final Fight. The plot is a man named Cody gets his girlfriend kidnapped. And his girlfriend looks a lot like Blaze. Gets kidnapped by a rival biker gang, and he has to go beat up everybody in the streets until he retrieves his girlfriend.
Okay.
And she gets
Sounds
kidnapped
familiar.
on stage in a rock concert. Like, I can't tell you how on point having a guitar in a game that's in the lineage of Streets of Fire is. It's a rock opera.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's a totally 80, 90 mood.
Yeah.
This is quite a fine storyline, like you pitching me.
Yeah,
About
well,
it.
yeah, no, it's ridiculous, and it's definitely if you just made Streets of Rage 4, if you're interested in seeing the lineage, I recommend Streets of Fire, Willem Dafoe, and it's a great 80s movie. Obviously, very very influential.
Okay,
You'll see it very quickly. Like clearly,
okay,
Blaze is just the character who gets kidnapped.
yeah, okay.
um, what about Floyd when you were designing him? It seems very very Jaxy. So how much did you?
Well, the thing is, so a lot of people jumped on the resemblance with Jax, but I'm not very familiar with Mortal Kombat. So basically, Floyd was here for gameplay needs. We wanted a grappler, but a long-range grappler.
Mhm.
Something a grappler that could do other moves than Max, because
Yeah.
Max was
Yeah, his character model resembles that Max the most because he's a
yeah,
big
yeah, yeah,
big dude,
very close.
lumbering.
Yeah, it's very close. And we wanted to have a character so big and long range as well.
Mhm.
So hence the arms and so after and also we wanted to connect it to Dr. Zan, because Dr. Zan is Zan, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because Zan is also part of the history of Streets of Rage, and so I think it made sense when I designed it, and now when so many people pointed out the resemblance with Jax, I could see that yeah, this is definitely very close, but this was not directly inspired by.
It's interesting. I think is audio done by Lizard Cube as well?
No, the audio was. You mean the sound effects? Or
Yes,
the-
sound effects, not the
Yeah.
music.
Now the sound effects were made by Swan Ménage, which is a very talented guy who did all the sound effects, and he's a freelancer sound effects guy.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, yeah. I said it. Yeah, he or she very much leaned into it, and actually has Floyd saying Jax's trademark phrase. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah. So, yeah, sorry. What can I say? Yeah, it's close, but it's definitely not.
Oh yeah, no.
Directly. Sorry.
I don't.
No,
Please don't take offense either, because like
That's alright.
Streets of Rage is clearly built on Streets of Fire. We play Street Fighter 2 from the 90s. We're
Yeah,
classic arcade, right? So we're inspired by old games.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2 like borrows so heavily from old movies and old sources, and I feel like that's just an inevitable part of art. Like you guys build upon what is before. Like you speak a language that we don't speak. Me, the non-artist, right? Where you guys are.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's always something like in the air that artists are grabbing all together. Like this is why you have like similar movies coming in the same time about, like, I don't know, sci-fi setup that you haven't seen for 10 years, and now you have like 3 movies. There is something in the air. Like it's not like people are copying themselves. It's just something that there's like something that you grab, that you feel that
Yeah,
you,
kind of our society inspires like the art of its era.
yeah.
Tell me about the redesign on Adam. What were you thinking there?
Well, I don't know if you've seen the blog post I did on the PlayStation blog,
I have not.
which
I can pull it up right now.
yeah, PlayStation blog, Streets of Rage, character design or something.
I'll look it up. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, Adam, I wanted to stay as close as possible to the original sprite. There's not much reference for Adam because he has not been seen much.
Street Surge 1, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have some cutscenes in 2 and 3, but part of that you don't have much. So I wanted to keep the yellow shirt, of course, but I couldn't picture the shoulder pads making a comeback because this is not the 80s anymore, and I don't think that would have been very good looking on him. So that's why I try to keep it simple but kind of new at the same time, modern.
Yeah. No, the suspenders are a nice touch. I want to cosplay them, but I don't think I can make my arms that big. I can't wait to the first time I see an Adam Streets of Rage 4 cosplayer. I'm gonna nerd out crazy.
That's funny because when we were showing the game to an event, I think that was in London. We at the time we haven't announced Adam yet, and I saw a guy in the crowd. He was just like Adam, like a big, tall, muscular black guy. I took a picture of him, and I don't know if you are listening and you are a black guy from London that attended, I thought it was funny.
Was
that something
Was he a cosplayer?
No, he was not. He wasn't cosplaying at all. He was just like a good-looking, muscular guy.
Gotcha.
He had a yellow shirt, maybe.
Yeah, he had a yellow shirt. Sorry.
Nice. So he was cosplaying on the down low. Stealth cosplay is what we call it. Where you dress up normal, but you kind of look like somebody.
No, I think I don't think he was cosplaying much. I'm not sure.
Yeah, coincidence. It's crazy.
Are you excited for that? That some people might be cosplaying things that you've created?
Yeah. I don't know because
it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna be me if nothing else.
Yeah, some people already did. Like I've seen a few Blaze cosplayers, and
my Blaze is gonna disappoint you.
I'm not sure, but no. I'm really.
Oh, yeah, there's already some new Blazes.
I'm really enjoying the fact that people are cosplaying the characters, but sometimes people go too far, and it does scare me a bit. Like for example, Wonder Boy, the previous game we made at Little Cube, we had a lot of fan art, like Fury's fan art. Very well drawn, very sexual. I mean, I'm glad people are enjoying the game and the characters, but I don't know. I don't know. Fury's porn is a bit much for me.
If it's on the internet, it's gonna, unfortunately, depending on how popular it is. So this is why I'm not scrolling any further down on the cosplay. I already saw something. I'm just gonna keep it up here.
Thanks for that, Ian.
Safe-ish. Yeah, we're good.
I have a question from Twitter. What's your favorite Sega franchise outside of Streets of Rage, Wonder Boy, or anything you may or may not already be working on?
Favorite Sega franchise?
Anything you'd like to remaster or reboot in the future, perhaps?
Well, I loved Landstalker. This was, you remember Landstalker?
Yes.
It was an adventure game, isometric view, and it was very nice, kind of a Zelda but for Genesis, and Shining Force as well. Shining
That
Force.
cover art for Landstalker,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
begging for
Yeah.
you to redo it.
Yeah, right.
yeah. Well, covers from the 90s. What can you say?
Oh
Um,
man.
And yeah, Shining Force and Stalker, Golden Axe as well. There's a lot of like very interesting licensed games that came from Sega at the time. I don't know. I just maybe I'm biased because I love Sega as a kid, but I think there's a lot of potentials that didn't go very far.
Um,
Oh, go
I
ahead.
was gonna
Ian.
ask you, do you have any kind of like arcades that you'd like? That's like your favorite arcade game. And then I have a secondary question
Yeah,
afterwards.
arcade. So I would say Street Fighter 3, um,
Mm.
Garou, Mark of the Wolf,
Oh,
uh,
where are you
and,
at, Arthur?
and Capcom versus SNK2. But all the games I'm talking about are basically the most well animated games you can
Correct.
find.
Yeah.
So maybe that's because of my background, but yeah.
Yeah. I feel like if you say
What was
Metal
that?
Slug, you got the all of them covered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there is a lot more. Like I can say Darkstalker, Samurai Showdown.
You're talking
King
our
of
language
the-
now. All of these games are
Yeah,
at free play.
King
Fighting
of Fighter.
Vipers?
No,
No. What was that game, Chris? The weird fighting game that's not made by not any company that makes fighting games, but is very well animated.
I'm not.
It was in a cab. There's like a lady who's like a snake lady.
I can't. Skullgirls? That's what the
No.
the
Skullgirls is also very good, but no, it was a fighting game that was like made by a company that was not Capcom or SNK. And we've had it on the free play floors.
I believe
before.
you. It's not ringing a bell at the moment. Not Fighting Vipers because you're thinking of that's the 3D game.
Sega, yeah, I forget what it was.
Oh,
called,
it's
but that one
it's
had
the Chinese knockoff game. Yeah. It's called Martial Masters.
Martial
Oh, yeah,
Masters.
I think I heard about this one.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
China put out a version, their own riff on the Neo Geo system.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
And it's mostly like, what would the word be? It's kind of it does feel like a ripoff in many ways. Like they clearly just copied like the Neo Geo architecture, I guess.
Yeah.
But then whoever their art guy was just blew it out of the park. Like it's the pixel art is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I see a lot of resemblance with Street Fighter Alpha.
Mhm.
Yeah. Doesn't look good here, but in person, I know it. It was very smooth looking. The pixel art was, and the animation itself was very cool looking. It was like a mix of like Alpha and maybe like the SNK games.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does look cool, but yeah, I've read about this game and platform, and I think they didn't have anything much except of this game.
Yeah, it's just sort of this is definitely our thing to get smashed on old games and rare games. We just keep finding more old lost treasures and tossing them on the arcade floor.
Yeah.
What's your more questions from the chat? What's your general process for character design on a project like this?
Well, what's the general process? I go for it. It's mainly a matter of readability, like the rhythm of the shapes, the contrast of the colors. It's a drawing process, really. But in terms of video game, you have to understand that everything needs, you need to see the silhouette of the characters, like
Yeah.
you need to see the arm, even if the pose is quite awkward in real life. You need to be able to see the fist, because this is like an important part of the gameplay. So yeah, so it's a mix of thinking about animation, and thinking about the rhythm of the character. I can't really point specifically how I do it. It's just matter of training, I think.
It's a design thing where
Yeah,
you're solving the problem of quick readability, like you're saying, by having like silhouettes of characters, even like the contrast. Like I'm seeing you on these sketches of Adam and stuff. I bet you right away you were thinking I need a different color for like the
yeah,
bottom part of his pants so that you can see if he's kicking, the yellow is going to stand out and this part of his foot is going to be seen easier.
yeah. And
Or
also, like I have since I animate the characters, I know that if I add some like the shirt of Adam on his waist, I knew that it will make a nice motion when he will be fighting. And sometimes I know that adding some stuff that will overlap uh, is better for animation ultimately.
it gives depth to things that
Yeah,
are, well, 2D
yeah,
essentially. Um, I was about to say, like, it looks like there's also a lot of just like design too, like looking back into history, especially for something like this. Like, I love looking at all your, you know, pixelated blazes, and then how you're picking and pulling from different parts, seeing what to keep. Like, I see her here with like a brown jacket at first, but then you kind of went against that. I'm assuming because like she didn't have any other brown pieces of clothing. It was like red and black. So, right, keep
yeah,
a red, black, and yellow.
and also the black is like a very nice contrast on her.
Yes.
It was and the leather jacket gives her kind of a badass look.
Yeah. Even I like how the shoes change too. Like you go straight to just like red boots again, probably to make things like click faster or visually grab something quicker. You have a visual hierarchy in this that you have to deal with, like animation, and it's like a whole other I guess dimension thing that you have to think about. You have to think of it in movement as opposed to just it being still.
I'm sorry, I'm seeing some people going back to the Fury thing and Wonder Girl Route 34. No, it was not Wonder Girl, it was the Lizard and the bosses, dragon bosses. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Oh man.
Um, let's see. So you're riffing on classic characters in the game. In the classic Streets of Rage games, but there are some new characters that you've been able to make more than just the main ones. But I'm thinking in particular of is it the level 1 boss Diva that has the snake? Is that it?
Yeah, yeah.
She's
How
very
how
cool.
much freedom did you have there to just sort of go on your own, and how did you come up with that design?
Well, I think I just roughed it out randomly, and at some point I thought that was a cool design, and I had since I'm doing all the art and I'm the art director, and I didn't have any really pushback per se. Even Sega, we were sending stuff to Sega, but they were really enthusiastic every time, so I didn't have any real pushback. So I kind of tried to design on my own and try to be respectful at the same time, which is a bit of a lonely path sometimes. But yeah, no, that was mostly. You know, some enemies didn't make it because it was not very relevant to the game. But mostly when I was pretty convinced with the design, I would say that it will be going into the game, no matter what.
Hmm. Yeah, that she stands out to me as like the most like I've seen nothing like this. I mean, I don't know, Britney Spears dancing in the VMAs, something like that with the snake. That's about it. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty unique and amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks.
yeah. Another
Was
character
there
that
any
really
like?
pops. Go ahead.
So was there any like references or anything that you used? Was there somebody that you kind of base her off of? I'm getting Riri
Yeah.
vibes, kind of.
Yeah, I think at some point while I roughed her out, I think I think I look at Rihanna different
There you go.
looks. And you can see that later in the game you have two divas, and their names are Rhea and Bio.
Ah,
Nice.
This is
that's awesome.
clearly a reference to these two queens, basically.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, so Rihanna, but I think the short hair of Rihanna was kind of a short period in a style, but no, I think I think I definitely looked at her at least the outfit she wore.
Hmm.
Yes.
It's funny how you get that like right away, and then I didn't even think of like the name Riri. I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense now. That's awesome.
Yeah, similar. You have your police characters. Estelle, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any inspiration? Any
I
direct
know
inspiration there?
Estelle is different because she's actually a real cop I encountered
Interesting.
in my building. Yeah, I was. It was in 2017, and I was coming back to my building, and there were three cops. They didn't have the code for entering the building,
Uh-huh.
so I approached them and I say, "Do you need some help? Do you need the code?" And they say, "Yeah, we need the code." And I say, "What are you here for?" And so the girl was facing me. She's basically Estelle, as I designed her, and she said, "Yeah, there is a guy. How did she say that? She said, I'm, I'm gonna punch him or something." And she was smiling because it was kind of a noise complaint about a crazy guy in the building. And you knew she was in charge. There were two guys with her, and the guys were fit, like they were very muscular, but I knew that she was a captain something.
Gotcha. Wow, that's really cool. I hope Estelle sees her counterpart.
I think I need to find her. Maybe I need to contact the precinct of the city I was living in.
I can't imagine being anything other than flattered. One of my hypest moments in Streets of Rage is just busting into the commissioner's office. Anything actually inspiring that? I mean, it's amazing.
What? So
There's just the commissioner's character model. I mean, I feel like you managed to bring every little bit of like kind of genre police commissioner everything into one form, and I don't know how you pulled that off, but I'm amazed.
Yeah, thanks. But I think the commissioner is just the most basic design I could come up with.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wanted to have the game happen in a prison and a precinct, but I think I designed him quite late because I didn't really knew what to do with him. But at some point, I didn't really need to do much because a commissioner is a commissioner, and,
Right.
And so I ended up with him.
There's just this moment when he's behind the desk and he stands up, and it's just.
Yeah.
Of course, this is the commissioner of Streets of Rage. Of course it is, and now he's coming down at me. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ian?
I'm personally a big fan of Freddie Mercury, the karate guy.
Oh yeah, he's I forget what.
No. Barbon, you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
Barbon is actually a boss from Streets of Rage 2.
Correct.
and this is literally a copy paste of the original design. So I don't have any responsibility, but yeah, it does look like Freddie Mercury, and this is very leather and mustache.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's the jacket that he takes off. It's like,
Yeah.
there's the Freddie Mercury leather jacket.
Is there anything left on the table? I mean, you can't talk about DLC. Is there any?
Yeah,
Do you
well,
wanna-
no,
do you wanna
on
read-
Twitter?
What's that?
of course, I can't talk about the future for Street of Rage, but just we're thinking about having some DLC, but we're not sure how to do it well, because we've been quite generous with Street of Rage 4. You have like 17 characters to choose from. You have a long adventure. We want to have something relevant to the players,
Right.
so we want to do this right.
Yeah, you've set a high bar, an incredibly high bar.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. I'm glad the game is received so well. So well. Oh,
I'm already replaying it too.
actually, if you want a bit of trivia, my screen is frozen when you had Photoshop open on the Street of Rage 4 poster, and you see in the background of the poster there is like a sound wave, and that sound wave is actually the sound wave of Go Straight from Yuzo Koshiro.
Oh wow!
Nice. So I think I never said it on the internet, but you're the first to know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I can
that
play
was
that.
just a wink to the composer, and I kept it. This is Audacity. I just screenshot my Audacity and Go Straight track.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I
I love
that one
small
right now.
stuff like that, where like if anyone else, because somebody on the internet's gonna look it up or something, they're gonna find tiny bits of like Easter eggs and like look it up themselves. But if anyone's watching this, you got it before anyone else has said it, so that's amazing. Which is funny because this is you're on VGM Wednesday, which is a show about specifically music and video games.
Art,
this
music,
week's
and video
theme
games. Yeah.
being the week's theme being art or artistic video games, and that's so cool that we ended back on music in an art piece about a video game. That's still awesome.
So Shannon says she's still on stage 9. Stage 9 is very difficult. I can't blame you still being on stage 9.
Which one's stage 9? Is that after the airplane crash?
This is ending with this is sauna and the elevator, and ending up with Max.
Ah.
Oh yes, I still haven't figured out the boss fight with Max yet.
White over, yeah.
Yeah.
I just ended up backfisting him the entire time. I'd let him walk behind me.
Oh, you went double dragon style then.
Yeah. Max is ironically the easiest part.
Oh, really? Not for me.
Not
Not for me.
The hardest boss I've had was definitely the DJ throwing stuff on the floor. I couldn't dash. I was Floyd, so I had to try to short hop everything.
So Shannon, when you get to the boss, when you get to Max, there's a crowd around the arena, and actually there is a lot of people from the development team into the crowd.
Oh.
And you also have Koshiro and Kawashima, the two original composers. You have also Childish Gambino.
What?
Because
Excellent.
I think it was Childish Gambino sampled Koshiro's music, and I think it was an homage to Street of Rage, as well as you have Tia Antwoord, the rap South African duo. I don't know if you knew this guy. But they are in the crowd as well because they've been sampling Koshiro as well.
That's amazing.
So there's a lot of small Easter eggs hidden everywhere. Like Julian, who did the backgrounds. Julian has been working with me from the beginning, and he did all the
Oh,
backgrounds.
there's Gambino. I see him. He's
Yep,
in the
there he
back
is.
right,
Yeah,
next to the two ladies who have drunk too much, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
are the people on the right the development team?
So I don't know if you're showing it that on stream because I shut
Oh.
down the stream. It was too much for my connection.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, it's on the stream right now. So I'm looking at the boss fight, and on the
Wait.
right side of the stage.
Yeah. So on the just next to the pillar is Gap Crush Games. Cyril, Beausoleil, and Jordi. If you go to the left of the arena,
Let's see if this gameplay gets us to the left.
so next to the big black guys in the backgrounds is Dotemu team. You have the marketing Dotemu. Oh, you have Koshiro and Kawashima behind that pixel guy.
Oh, there we go.
dancing.
There's the left
On
side.
the left. Oh, I see the Lizard Cube logo on that shirt right there.
Yeah, that's Julian who did the backgrounds. And my
Nice.
family is at the bottom. I'm
Bottom left.
bottom left, yeah. So if you go to the bottom, you're gonna see me, my daughter on the shoulders, and my wife and son, bottom left.
I'm not playing, unfortunately. This is just a video. Somebody's
Okay.
playing. They're very afraid of Max right now.
As they should
away.
be. He's got so much armor on his attacks. What
Actually,
about? Oh, go
we
ahead.
didn't talk about it. The brother sister team.
Yeah, the Y
um,
twins.
Yeah. Any inspiration from anybody?
Yeah, somebody asked me. I replied, "Rich kid" on Instagram.
Perfect.
I wanted.
None of them are.
I wanted them to be as shitty as possible, you know, entitled little fox inheriting the wealth of their father. So I think maybe you, it might be based on the Trump
Oh yeah, I can see it for sure. The kids.
Trump family or something. They're better looking, but
Oh man. Yeah. None of them look like ghosts or
yeah,
like their soul is still inside of them or something.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that shades of GLaDOS in the background too?
Shades of what?
GLaDOS from Portal.
Oh, from Portal.
Ah no,
the-
no. This is actually the sound system used to control Max.
Oh yes,
yeah.
yes.
Ow. Oh man, the twins need to be doing more selfies. I think if that's the case for Instagram
yes.
rich people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DLC
It's-
selfies.
There's a wrestler in I think it's AEW. His whole shtick is that he is like a vlogger and one of those annoying people who like vlogs and does all that stuff, and it works because he's the bad guy. He's like a heel, and he does that like I guess IRL too. He'll do selfies and stuff in the ring and like stream while he's in the ring. It's hilarious, and it's like such a something that you root against. So yeah, it makes a perfect heel. So spot on.
Let's see. Questions from the chat. They're obsessed with Cherry's guitar.
Oh yeah, so Cherry's guitar is kind of a mix of influence. The thing is, it needed to be symmetrical because when you have like a Les Paul, for example, and you have your character facing left or right, you're gonna have a left-handed guitar or right-handed guitar, so it needed to be symmetrical. And this is kind of a double cut Gibson. Uh,
Casino-esque.
yeah, I can't say exactly because it's not exactly a Gibson model. I wanted to have something very particular for her, but yeah, this is actually I found a guitar pretty similar online. I bought it. I'm gonna try to have it repainted in. The guitar is yellow, but I'm gonna paint the black stripes on it.
Oh, nice.
On the bottom. Yeah. Yeah, this is very important for those of us who are probably going to cosplay Cherry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Ah,
gonna
yeah.
have to
Okay.
buy
Ah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Telling you, I'm
sure.
gonna lose my mind
So,
the first time I see a spot
2
on
humbuckers,
Cherry.
everybody.
Yeah.
One black stripe is what it looks like.
Two black stripes going to
Two.
the volume
And tone knob.
and tone. Yeah.
Switch on the
so-
top though. I don't know what that does.
Yeah, switch on the top because I don't like to have a switch on the bottom. This is only for me because I wanted to have a merchandising from Gibson or something, and
yeah,
I
that's true.
wanted to be able to enjoy proper guitar.
Cherry might end up being one of the most cosplayed characters ever because there's just not that many
I hope
black
so.
female characters to cosplay. I know I've heard other cosplayers complain about this. It's like they just don't. They can't. You got people like who's the UFC fighter who does Street Fighter 2 characters?
Oh, she did Sagat, right?
Yeah, she's
She in a way and did like the Sagat win pose.
yes, and she's done Dhalsim as well. Angela Hill is who I'm referring to.
She came to Dallas one time. She toured Funimation. I remember that.
Well, I cold Twitter messaged Ben to see if he would join us. I definitely have cold messaged Angela Hill to see if she would join us as well. But yeah, there aren't enough characters, African characters of African descent in general, but especially women. So I cannot wait to see the first spot on Cherry Hunter. Oh, that's the end of Go Straight.
I think I had a reference at some point that was a girl on Twitter, and she had kind of a similar haircut with dyed hair, but not pink. I think it was white. I'm gonna try to find her again and say that she's an inspiration to Cherry.
It's awesome.
Well, I don't have any more questions. Do you have anything, Ian?
The back of my mind, no. Besides technical stuff, like
Yeah,
where can I steal your halftone patterns that you put on things?
It's actually the basic Photoshop halftone.
Okay.
So if you want to do it right now, you make a 50% gray, and you fill your layer with that.
Okay, and then you just do it in Photoshop.
And you do it in Photoshop, and basically this is just in overlay mode, and I reduced it to 25% or something.
Because that's. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. It's not rocket science, really. It's just
Yeah.
basic.
How it's used is great. I was talking about it on the stream also. It's like not overtly visible, but I like the textures and everything. It really helps. There's like I guess that halftone pattern, and I think there's a little bit
There's
of
there's a paper texture as well.
Yeah,
There's paper texture. Yeah, and because I think the texture, and I used it in Wonder Boy as well. The texture are, mixing the wall of the image, like the background and the characters feel more connected when you have a texture that connects them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of the stuff that we I guess. So for VGM Wednesday, we talk about music specifically, but we end up photoshopping and like adding specifically Chris's face to stuff lately.
Okay.
in just the different ways, and it's just us like removing the logo and making it like say VGM Wednesday or whatever. But we go on talking about some of the techniques and stuff used as well. So that's the thing that I've noticed most about this is like I want to draw something and make it look watercolory with like halftone pattern shadows and everything. Yeah.
I think this is also like the art style feels quite new to people because this is not an art style very used into video games. And but this is more of a French comic book look, I think. And I'm glad I'm able to that it's received very well for
Yeah.
games this big, because this is something I like visually.
It's a cool new influence. So you're talking about Tintin. This is my Tintin poster that I have right standing next to me, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you can see that. But
Yeah.
there is, speaking of French, there is a, because I know you noted manga and anime as like a influence as well. There's a French animated movie that was very like well received and like popular. I remember the scene specifically. I remember is like this small like woodland creature like swinging around nunchucks that were gigantic.
What? Nunchucks?
Yeah, I don't know if it was French or not though. I think if I look up French anime, that might be the first thing that pops up.
What kind of style?
Oh, actually, that's a big one too. The ladybug.
Oh, Ladybug. Yeah, of
yeah.
course. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Ladybug because my wife is actually the producer of the show.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I know that's like a huge thing. Like I used to work at Funimation, and
Yeah.
I know my coworker who's like a big fan, like multiple coworkers that were big fans of that show.
Yeah,
French
yeah,
anime.
Yes, this is a very big. This is a very big thing at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, they went to Japan and I think they found products there of it. So
Yeah,
they went all
you
in
have
on that.
you have toys and merchandise of Ladybug everywhere in the world. It's crazy.
Is that a big thing for you too? Like if it's something that you're kind of mimicking something Japanese, and then for it to go back to Japan as a thing, because I know that was like huge for like the team of Ruby. I don't know if you've ever seen or watched Ruby back in the day.
No, but you mean have like the
Toys and
yeah, the Japanese noticing me? You mean?
yes.
Yeah, well, it could have been a few years back, but now I've been working with Japanese people, and I went to Japan many times, and I don't know, it's such a different culture. They are going very fast into the latest hype, the latest. I don't know. I'm glad if Japanese people like the game, and but I'm not like wishing it as a fanboy of Japan, you know. Because even if I love anime and manga, I think we need to find a proper writing, if I can say, you know, when it's not. I just want just to copy stuff from
International
Japan.
diversity of the
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to have, you know, to make games with a French mood. Like, I don't know, you.
We're gonna play Brothers after this, which are you
This
familiar
is-
with that game?
No, what game? Sorry.
Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
This is not a French game.
not a French game. Let's see here.
So,
I like international feeling games. The Witcher 3. So definitely like adding different like cultures, especially European cultures, that because obviously we get American games here in America, and
Yeah.
there are plenty of Japanese obsessed Americans here. But yeah, having new
Yeah,
styles.
because sometimes just to have my own view of the world put into a game, because even I like all good games, American, Japanese, or everywhere in the world, but sometimes the American point of view is a bit too much. Uh, and I'd like, I don't know the characters to go to a bakery and enjoy a cigarette at a cafe. I don't know, but yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, even in America here, like we see representations of New York and Los Angeles. We're in Dallas, Texas, which is big enough to hold like an incredible
Yeah,
arcade.
yeah.
So like our representation in media is basically the show
Cowboys.
Dallas. Well, the Dallas
Yeah.
Cowboys and the show Dallas from the 70s. Which
Yeah.
was not accurate to the 70s, but certainly, like, when's the last time you saw someone riding a horse, Ian? I can't.
Yeah, I
Fort
think
Worth.
I think one of the best show I saw about America was Friday Night Lights.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
you
that's a little
remember
bit more
that?
accurate. There are a lot of
Yeah.
people obsessed with high school football here.
Yeah, and this is quite an eye opener
Mhm.
because I didn't knew it was so big for the community. It was very, very nice show. Very nice.
If I don't know if this is a bad thing, but I always felt King of the Hill felt way more
You're right. Yeah.
what this area is like. Cause like I had cousins when I first moved here to Dallas. They're like, what is it like in Texas? I'm like, you know what? It's kind of like King of the Hill.
Yes, that's accurate to
So-
this part. Like we're in the city here, and then if you get outside of here, then it's more Friday Night Lights. Because I lived in both, so
Yeah. Okay.
you get your Texas fill there.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not Deliverance.
Yeah, no,
No.
that's more accurate to like Georgia and my time in Louisiana.
Georgia,
Okay.
I was gonna say Louisiana. But I don't know if you're watching, but this video that I've been playing in the background, that's the thing that I think of when I think of like French animation.
Wakfu. Yeah. Wakfu.
Yeah.
It's actually a game at the beginning, 2D MMORPG,
Uh-huh.
and it was very successful. So they made a TV series and they made a movie as well. A lot of friends of mine worked at that company.
Ah.
Yeah, one of the cool success of France.
This, and then I don't know if it was French or not, but it was a comic book that was adapted about man, I'm blanking on it. It's a girl, Iranian girl, I think, and how
Oh,
she
yeah,
likes
yeah.
like punk music.
Marjane Satrapi and fuck me.
Was that French?
Yeah, she's Iranian French, and
Uh-huh.
she's Iranian, and she escaped to France when she was a little girl, and this is actually the story of her life. A lot of friends of mine worked on that movie. Very
Uh,
authoring movie.
It's an amazing movie. And then
Yeah.
I really wanted to pick up the second book because I want to know what happened on the
Persepolis.
second part of it.
Persepolis.
Yes, that's so good.
Yeah.
Next, you're going to tell me that you know people that worked on Triplets of Belleville.
Oh yeah, yeah. But every 2D movie that are being made in France, I knew obviously some people that worked on it at some point.
Yeah, I'm fanboying out now, so
So,
that's
have you
awesome.
have you seen Ernest and Celestine? This is
Mm-mm.
like a bear and a little mouse. Very kids-friendly movie. And it was nominated at the Oscar. I think.
Ernest and Celestine. There is something about these animation styles that I don't want to say is French, but I can tell it's Like it's kind of French, I
I
guess.
basically watch this stuff once a year whenever like the Oscar Shorts nominations happen, and
Yeah.
then I end up watching them all together in a movie theater, an art house theater here.
Okay.
So I've seen all of these.
Okay. Cool.
Persepolis, I don't know. I think it was just on Netflix, and I think I saw a trailer for it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. But Persepolis was done very well.
Yeah.
I really do need to. I need to pick up that second book.
French animation is not great all the time. You know, it's there is like few movies that
triplets.
goes across the ocean, but yeah, we have a lot of shitty movies as well.
Was Babar French? The elephant?
Is he French? I think it's Belgium.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Belgium, and this is part. You know, Congo was part of the Belgian colony, so
Hmm.
I think this is kind of based on that. I think it's quite
That
dark.
Oh. I like this art style a lot, actually. This must be like difficult to animate. Things that look so. Uh, what's the word? Analog, different line widths. I know we were talking about this earlier too, but how there's not a lot of animations or like even games that have like the lines that like you guys have in
This
Streets
is
of Rage
this is all done in Flash for the
on
animation.
Wow.
Yeah, this is Flash, and all the texturing is made afterwards in compositing.
That-
Yeah,
that
I was very close with the director, he's a friend of mine, and so I knew a lot of
awesome.
stuff that happened in this movie.
the tech to make things look old again is mind blowing to me. Like the stuff that like Disney has been going through to make their 3D animated stuff look like 2D is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Guilty Gear does it in their games. Guilty Gear does it very well in their games.
Yeah. But this is a big process because they need to. I don't know if you've seen the GDC presentation of the art style of Guilty Gear, but it's like for the shading they have another model
Yeah.
just for shading, and they don't have. I mean, for the first 3D Guilty Gear, they did not have any texture. Everything is like polygons with color.
Yeah. They had to do something similar to in what was a KOF, was it 13? The last animated KOF. I think it was
Yeah.
KOF 13.
Yeah, KF13.
It has amazing pixel art.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that was 3D, and then they just put pixel art over it, which is
I
like
think
nuts to me.
It's more complicated than that. I think they used a based 3D model for lightning, and they. I like the KOF 13, but sometimes it feels a bit off. You know, like I can see the 3D behind it. I don't know. It's a shame that this game kind of tanked because I would have liked that SNK would stick to 2D fighting.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. We have enough.
Check the lore, alright?
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I jumped in. So we have something called Tuesday Night Fights, where we just play random games on Tuesday. Unfortunately, we don't have the arcade right now, but we've been doing it online. And one of the only ones that I've joined has been KOF 98. And I think there was, again, something that drew me to it was definitely art style and just like the animation. It's something that I always go back to. I always think, oh, SNK.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very
eh,
SNK.
And it's actually a good thing for 2D. 2D can be here as long as you want. It's not depending of the hype of the 3D of the moment. Like for example, you can still play Metal Slug and find it beautiful, but I will not say the same for a lot of 3D games of that era.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
hard to look at even
I've-
Final Fantasy VII. See the big
Yes.
blocks.
Yeah, if Final Fantasy VII is very difficult, and if you want to have a proper good looking with 3D, it's 200 million budget if you want to make a. I think, but I think 2D is here to fill a gap for. For 2D developers. It can be beautiful and not very expensive if you do it efficiently.
Well, it's beautiful in a way in which it's not the same when you take either when you take realistic looking 3D models, like they're chasing a real dragon, right? This just looks real. But
Yeah.
there's something that's always stylized about the 2D art, the way it pops off the screen, the way it makes your imagination go. Like I said, like there's so many moments in Streets of Rage 4 where just like something happens and my mind explodes, not just from what I'm seeing, but from the emotions that it's evoking from me, from all the different like movies and games and whatnot that I've played over the years. It's just like, oh, of course. And that's not the same when you see an actor playing something like we were playing Until Dawn on the stream earlier, which I did enjoy, but like it just looks very realistic. It's like there's the guy who won the Oscar for Freddie Mercury, but it's not nearly as evocative as seeing the hand-drawn stuff.
Yeah, because especially when you try to have a realistic 3D character, you are on the
Yeah.
how do you say, the uncanny valley.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you don't remember them, and you don't want to remember them because this is kind of, it's more. I don't know, if you don't have empathy for the characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always mention it during our VGM Wednesday segments that there's also something about giving someone a limit, right? Like with 2D, 3D might be easier to like maybe model something out. You would think that, okay, I just like move something around like a puppet, versus 2D, you have to animate everything, and so there's not a skeleton that you're following, and then you've got more opportunity to kind of exaggerate things, and those exaggerations are the things that you will like notice like the most.
Yeah, the thing is, the thing is that the problem is with 2D animation, like I do, is that you have to plan things ahead very carefully, because you can't. This is not very video game development friendly, because you can't iterate much. Because if you have a proper character and you want to change the animation, you have to redraw everything. So this is the only downside of it. I mean,
Other than it looking gorgeous and
yeah, well,
somebody-
but this is another way of making games. I think a lot of developers are focused on the way like iterative all the time, and it's good because you can change the feeling at the very end of the game development. But for 2D, it's very difficult. So I don't know.
Ian, have you played it yet with the pixel art overlay? I guess it is. Is it a filter? Streets of Rage 4, that is.
Oh, it's just right.
That's a filter, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't yet.
I haven't
I'll say
either.
that-
I'm honestly like still entranced with the art as it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it does actually work.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
I like how it also mixes with the pixel characters as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I saw you on my website.
Oh
Wait,
yes,
what did-
I'm just looking around at everything else you have. I love this Fox animation too.
It was a project of a video game I wanted to do in my spare time, uh, but I didn't go very far because I was trying to program myself, and
Ah,
you didn't have Unity at the time, so I used what did I use? Engine called I can't remember, but so
I
yeah,
don't
so
know the other one. I'm trying
I
to think of
designed.
something else that was like Unity.
Yeah.
I'm getting it's that mouse guard book. I forgot what it's called. Martin of Redwall. Martin of Redwall feels from some of this, but anime inspired Martin of Redwall. Yeah, I'm a fan, and
Thanks.
now even a bigger fan, knowing all the stuff that you are associated with and things that you guys have worked on.
Yeah. What else can you point us to? If because I've got another solid month of playing Streets of Rage 4 with me, if not more. But if we want to find more of your specific art, because now, like Ian said, we're fans.
Yeah.
My art is not. You can find one page of me in the art book of DreamWorks TV series about trolls, not trolls, about uh, a guy with a sword, troll hunters, troll hunters.
Troll Hunters,
The
gotcha.
art
Yeah.
of DreamWorks animation.
Yeah, troll hunters.
So you did work on Troll Hunters, and
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
for a bit as a I was an employee of a French company doing stuff for and you have 2 pages of me here, I think. I didn't even know that was in that. Other than that, I did some development for DreamWorks, but it never came to light. Uh, I've been doing comics, but French comics, not translated. I'm gonna try to have the rights back and put my comics online for free for everybody.
oh,
Try to
That'd be
because
awesome.
yeah.
I don't do anything with it, and the publisher doesn't care. So I'm gonna try to have my right back.
Yeah, I think that's as a someone who loves old video games. I think I'm getting frustrated by, I would say, video games released in the last 10 years. Scott Pilgrim versus the World is a really good example of this, which is a beautiful, beautiful video game, which is basically lost to time because
Yeah.
of rights issues.
Yeah. I don't know how they could manage that, but that's a shame that this game is not available anymore.
Yeah, I know. Brian Lee O'Malley's upset about it, the original Scott Pilgrim artist.
Oh, look at, sorry, Blue Mary just popped up on one of your things too. AOF
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. This is when I was trying the style of Streets of Rage 4. You know, this is just a matter of trying how to color, how to.
Actually, can I ask what do you mostly like to work in? Is this digital? I'm gonna assume it's digital.
Yeah, everything's Photoshop. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I tried other software, but I have my habits in Photoshop. I have my brushes. I know exactly how the software works, so it's easier for me.
Yeah. Any analog mediums? So stuff for Inktober. That's always
Yeah,
interesting going back.
Yeah, just basic brush pens and this is like markers, gray markers for having a bit of shading.
Mm. Yeah, it's
So
always
now-
interesting to go back because there's no Control Z.
Yeah. I actually did that because I did some drawings for 2 fans that helped us in the game. And I had to, since I'm on lockdown with my family, I don't have my stuff for drawing here, so I had to use my daughter's pencils and watercolor.
Well, it turned out great. How are things over there, lockdown wise?
Well, honestly, that's alright because I finished Street of Rage just before the lockdown.
Oh, well, last year.
But the thing is, since I have two kids at home, two young kids,
Yeah.
it's it's quite a challenge. And my wife is working very much, so it can be a challenge. But no, that's alright. The weather is actually nice. They're planning to reopen the country next week. I'm not sure we are ready yet. We'll see.
Same here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're definitely not ready in the US.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to overstep, but from what I've heard, I think you're facing a major crisis.
This sounds. Did we lose you? And no, I can hear him still.
He's
Sorry,
just gone
saying that-
much lighter, much lower.
Yeah,
Sorry, do you hear me?
we're okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
better.
we can
That's
hear
better.
you. But yeah,
Yeah, we're opening up, I guess this week, last week, phasing in, opening up, and yeah, same
Yeah.
here. We're having record numbers of infection every day, and it's weird. This
I
has been a
think-
weird time.
Yeah, you're gonna face a major death toll.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just.
We're all living it, so you don't have to apologize. It's
Yeah.
it's been a weird time.
Yeah, sure. So anyway,
Yeah.
guys, it's getting late. I'm gonna leave you here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
no, thank you so much. Yeah,
Have a good one. Stay safe.
We have to ask one question from Penelope, our 14-year-old Super Turbo Kids player. She wants to know, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color is dark blue gray.
Dark blue gray.
Gray dark blue.
Thank you so much.
Blue is winning.
Congratulations. Enjoy this, man. You're the king of the world. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Have a good one, guys. Bye bye.
Thanks again, Ben. All right.
Bye.
That's awesome. The
is awesome.
the Easter egg of knowing what this is now in the background.
Hmm.
That's for all you free play people out there. Go tell everybody.
It's true. Yeah.
Clip it. Clip that.
So good. How am I supposed to
I
play
don't know how
anything
you're
else
gonna-
now?
And just play Streets of Rage again.
I mean, clearly
I'm
going
already
to.
going through. So I stayed up a little too late last night, just like beating it, and then it's like, oh, let's see how far I can get with arcade, or let's try other characters.
Mm.
So I ended up playing with other characters, and that was like 4 in the morning. I was like, oh, jeez, okay.
I
Go
can't let
sleep.
myself do that, just because I have to get up the
No.
next day and do the show.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, like, Tuesday night fights running long is just like, all right, this has got to end so I can play some Streets of Rage 4, and it didn't happen, of course.
Oh, I
Man.
mean, you can always change Brothers back to this.
Done.
but-
You didn't have.
I-
You don't have
I-
to work hard to talk me into it. Let's play Streets of Rage 4. What do you play on, Ian?
On Steam, but I'm having that issue where I connect
Ah.
to people and it's like choppy and gross. But
Maybe I can play with Shannon.
I mean, it looked like it worked great for you and Cloud and you and Shannon.
Hmm.
I don't know how it looked for Jasmine, but then again, the you and Shannon, it was PS4, I think, right?
Yes, but I played Cloud in Steam, and it's been fine. Yeah, you're the only person that
yeah,
had
I
connection
remember-
issues, which means you're on the top of my list to come over whenever you can, and let's play some 4-player.
What's weird though, what's weird is like I didn't have that issue with one of Andy's computers, one of his older computers. There was no issue, but on his new computer, the one that's like more powerful, all sorts of issues. So I'm confused.
That's interesting. I suppose I could. I have two gaming PCs here. I suppose I could install on the other one. But honestly, I want you over here at the Free Play Away Game Studios whenever it's all cool
other
to do
thing-
it and play 4-player.
The other thing that might be worth it, I don't know if you saw the weird 4-player way to try to play it, is somebody hosts it all on their machine, and we all kind of play via like a Discord type thing where share one screen and like our inputs are all. That would be something
Super
we'd have to
delayed.
look in the future because I know you want to play this 4 players, and there might be a way.
I do. But honestly, I'm obsessed with local multiplayer as it is. So maybe
Yeah.
sometime soon we can have a renaissance of Streets of Rage 4, and I'll play 4-player and play the music in the room and just have a party, man. It's
We should have. I don't know how much it would be to commission something from Ben, but if you can get this in the arcade, and then commission a cab,
ooh.
that
Yeah.
would be amazing. That would be money, but that's. I mean,
I suspect Streets of Rage 4 will. Maybe it's just the employees afterwards, but I suspect at some point you'll see Streets of Rage 4, or it will be played within the premises. I bet you. I mean, we have the
Yeah.
Red Bull cab that's capable of playing PS4 games right there, but I wouldn't be
True.
surprised if there's something even better. It's too good. It's just too good.
maybe they can skin the Red Bull cabinet with Ben's stuff.
Well, honestly, like
something.
the 4-players where it's at.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's only 2-player.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well.
Yeah, the only thing that keeps
so
it from being just a
somebody-
straight arcade game is just that the game takes a long time to play. You know, one person. You can have a game that goes on for an hour,
That's true.
but it's a great hour with a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to watch too. So yeah, I'm gonna use the restroom real quick, and then I'll come back and I'll play some games with Shannon. I know you gotta go, Ian. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
no problem.
honestly, like, it's so much better to have somebody with expertise and to talk to the art guy about.
Oh, that was pretty fun to talk about, especially when it came down to the animation. Like him knowing the people for Persepolis is like, that's awesome. His wife is working on that Ladybug anime that I know a bunch of friends of mine are like big fans of.
Mm-hmm.
Also awesome.
Yeah.
So,
All right. I'll be right back in 90 seconds or so.
all right, go ahead. I guess while I still have the screen and people here, guys, feel free to follow Ben at his Twitter. I'm sure if you have more questions, you can ask him there. He has his website with his artwork and stuff on it. So I'll definitely be following him. He did a really cool piece for one of the special guest composers, and he did stuff for Hotline Miami, which is also an amazing game. Great music and everything too. Cool that he did this for him. Yeah, that was awesome of him to come out, man. That's and all the way in a different country, different time zone. I'm very thankful, and seems very humble. I'm gonna have to say thank you out here somewhere.
All right. Thank you, Ian.
A proper thank you or whatever.
What's that?
All right, I'm gonna do some proper thank yous and stuff on social medias.
Yes, please. We gotta get that Go Straight thing clip too.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Okay, I'm gonna look for that then.
There's so much.
Can we do that?
What's that?
Can I look at old video already?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
But
I will
there's
look for
also
it.
you have like 2 weeks to clip it as well.
That's true.
I know I clipped some e-brakes in retrospect. We're gonna have dogs attacking in this e-brake at 5 o'clock. But until then, every game that's not Streets of Rage 4 is canceled. We're playing Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah.
I've been jonesing
Get
to
on
play
up,
this game for a
Shannon.
while.
Oh yeah. I for me it was like recent. I played it that one time with Andy, and then the Saturday or Sunday where I was playing it by myself. I'm like, okay. And now I'm playing it with another character.
Right.
Blaze is pretty cool. So now I'm trying to up it each time. So now I'm playing on hard. Next one on Maniac or whatever.
Yeah. No, I've got so much left, and also don't fall asleep on the retro modes. Like the pixel filter actually does look pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now, like I was telling Ben.
Post-processing mode or whatever that's called.
Yeah, it looks nice. Like it looks like Streets of Rage. They did a phenomenal job in every part of it,
Yeah.
and that's I just don't know how they pulled that off. Like, that's an impossible task. It's not a fair task. Like, you have one of the great games of all time with maybe the best video game music soundtrack of all time. And you have to follow that up to hit it out of the park. That's
like
impossible.
They're like a two-man group too, I think. The main Lizard Cube.
Hmm. Yeah, him and he said Omar, I believe was his name.
Yeah.
But he's the art guy.
Where's there's nothing else on here. Maybe it's not loading. Maybe my internet is dying.
Yeah, Shannon, if you're here, jump on the Streets of Rage on the PS4.
What's up, guys?
Hey. You got your answer for the what guitar she's using.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Gibson S.
Lego nailed it too. He knew it.
Gonna streaming yours so I can stream my bandwidth back.
Yeah, if you haven't, if you listen to all that and you haven't gotten Streets of Rage 4 yet, it's well worth it. However you can obtain it.
Yeah. To close this off, I need to go